Because even if you think there is this one ultimate ground,
well, you determine that. Yeah, exactly. How can you know the ultimate ground without thinking it? Which means that thought is already secondary, basically, to whatever you're feeling, whatever you're craving, whatever your views are, wherever your attention is. So the way to discern the principle correctly is to start including your way of attending to things in it. As in, you choosing to attend this is already within the principle. So you can't just leave your attention out and then discern the principle, because that becomes explanation. That becomes psychologization. And that's why it's not Paticca Samuppada.
That is the further, as far as a person can see, like in terms of phenomenology, that principle. Like you can't see.
Yeah, you can't step outside of it.
Yeah.
You can't step outside of it. That's why we keep talking about peripheral awareness and practicing mindfulness, and not like I'm mindful, but recognize your situation, see whatever you're attending, but keep a corner of your eye in the background, as in of how you're feeling, what the currently mood endures, because that is what's directing your attention. Like, if you're unmindful, like if you haven't recollected the right context of that craving is bad, for example, that craving results in suffering. If you don't have that context in your mind, enduring, when craving is present, you are going down the rabbit hole of your desire for whatever it wants. So your attention is fully sent and directed and thrown by that lack of understanding of the context of craving. If you do maintain the context that craving, it should be unwanted, because it always means presence of craving means presence of suffering. Thus craving means suffering. Desire is suffering in itself. That's why you give into it to try to get rid of it. You maintain that context. So now you're aware. So you are attending to what present state of mind endures, such as state of sensual desire or state of ill will. But that attention is not going all the way, because you are mindful of the context that sort of is a necessary container for it. So you're already, even unknowingly to that extent, certainly in the beginning, you're practicing the principle of Paticca Samuppada rightly. You're going against the grain, as the Buddha said.
You're not wanting it. You're not wanting
well, there is wanting,
but
you are now aware of the context that it's a necessary basis for your wanting. And the only way you can arrive at it is to first restrain the actions that are rooted in your wanting, the actions that come out as a result of your wants. That's why sila, virtue, sense restraint, is a necessary basis. It must be developed beforehand. Habit of, no, I will not engage with sensuality. No, I will not engage in ill will, in gossip, in malicious speech, in slander, and all these things. You don't know why, but you take it on trust that you won't do it, and because you haven't been doing it, you're training yourself to not automatically act out of presently arisen desire. By not acting automatically, you immediately force yourself to see the context of it. By acting automatically, you immediately jump down the rabbit hole and you don't see any context. It gets narrow and narrow and narrow. And that's exactly what sensuality is. And ill will. It is complete loss of perspective.
What about this idea of non-duality? See, that's the ultimate ground, like non-dual. So, Paticca Samuppada, you said it's duality.
Of course. The only way you can, how can you be aware of non-duality? Because your awareness is already different from that non-duality, which means there are two things, but you're just not ignoring one. You're ignoring your point of view, you're ignoring your perspective, you're ignoring your own awareness of the thing that has arisen, even if that's the ultimate reality of non-duality. Yeah, but you're aware of it, thus it's dual. But if you were to see that whatever is the object of my attention, including non-duality, the ultimate Nibbana, means attention and object of it. Can I attend it if I haven't been subjected to the object? No. Would I know the object if I'm not attending it? No. Thus, two sticks determine each other, depending on where you look. And it's never the point to get your attention to attend to the origin or something of itself. That's inconceivable. You want to understand the background of what you're attending. That's where the determination of your attention is. So you're attending non-duality. What is the background of it? Well, it's certain desire, isn't it, of towards pleasure, towards the ideal of ultimate peace, of non-duality and merging with a greater universe, reality, whatever you want to call it, it's motivated by that, and that's present there. Those are your intentions that make you think about non-duality, that you're clearly fully ignoring by overcommitting to the reality of non-duality, which is, again, how can you know it unless you can think it? How can you think it without attending it? If you're attending something, your attention is not it. So the true non-duality then, even from that ideal of non-duality, would be complete unawareness of anything. Would be a complete non-existence. Because as soon as you're aware of something, to that extent, there is a difference. So then you say, oh, it's non-existent. How can you think non-existence? Because your thought is existing. So you're thinking non-existence by existing it? It's a contradiction in terms. Yet, here you are maintaining the attitude that when you think non-existence, when you think non-duality, when you think the ultimate reality, that is what ultimate reality is. Yet, it's only your thought. Cannot be anything different than that. So that's why the issue was never finding the reality hidden behind or running into some new astrally projected realm of non-suffering. No, it's just literally stop misconceiving things as yours through wrongly attending to them. What things? Your feelings, your intentions, your perceptions. That's it. Your mind. That is the ultimate.
Mm-hmm. And that's that sutta where the Buddha says he looks for who can he respect in the world higher than him.
Oh yeah,
nobody. Nobody. But then he says, why don't I
respect the Dhamma?
Respect the Dhamma.
Yeah, the principle that he discerned that made him the Buddha.
And so he dwelt respecting that, seeing that. And just
because if that principle, if things were not actually like this, as in, if you were not subjected to feeling, first, as a necessary enduring container for your craving in regard to it, for your actions, for whatever else you have on top of it, you wouldn't be able to free yourself from it. The feeling would truly be yours. You would be its creator, its owner, its manifester. But you're not. You ignore the fact that you're not, and that's why you think you are. You stop ignoring it, you will stop thinking you are the master of it. But as I said, you have to reverse the order. So now the only feeling you know is the feeling through your craving. So you want to first discern that there is craving there, as in leaning towards, leaning against, attitude of yes, attitude of no. And I must get rid of it. No, I must discern the feeling within this attitude. And then that feeling will be seen as actually a necessary basis for this attitude. And that's how you surmount the attitude of craving. That's how you surmount suffering. And if that were not possible to do, you wouldn't have done it. So that's what we said. So why don't I then respect the fact that it was possible to do it? As in the universal principle.